Richardson up ahead, look out. Hello, Amari Stoudemire elevates and detonates.
Well, welcome back in, Planeteers. It is me, Fallen Founder, and as you notice, I'm the new founder of the Suns Mark Williams fan club because, my goodness, we have a center that actually rebounds and blocks shots and makes shots at the basket difficult, and he dunks, and he has a motor. Mark Williams, welcome to the Valley, sir. Best Suns center since, how far back should we go, Bruce? At least since Shaq, right? I mean, don't get me wrong. We weren't getting prime Shaq in Phoenix, but we got okay Shaq, and there wasn't a lot of other good center. Marcin Gortat. I mean, we have to go back.
Yeah, it's kind of hard. I mean, Ayton, when he first arrived here, was pretty dominant, but as we saw, it kind of transcended into some laziness. But I'm seeing that kind of with Mark Williams here, where he's got that motor, like you mentioned. He's bringing that energy that the Phoenix Suns need, regardless if it was off the bench to start the season in an uncomfortable role, or now where he is starting and really starting to now get his connections done with Devin Booker and hopefully working with Jalen Green to be even more valuable for this Suns team as well.
Yeah, no, it's a refreshing moment to see. I feel like this might be the first Suns team. I mean, obviously we've had some different rotations, different starters, and we'll get into that here in a bit. But I feel like even if one of our guys is not the most elite at a particular position, I don't feel as though we have a clear weakness at a position like I feel like we've had in years past, where it's like, all right, clearly we're not good at this position, but hopefully the other 3 or 4 guys can carry it tonight. Whereas I feel like we are at least average or above average just about everywhere. And Mark Williams certainly has removed that Band-Aid of, well, we're not good at the center position. DeAndre just needs a little bit more time to marinate. And now Mark Williams comes in. And I just want to say thank you, Lakers, for making a terrible decision and keeping was it Dalton Connect and a first-round pick, and you could have had Mark Williams. Phoenix appreciates you, LA. We appreciate you. Bruce, how you doing? How you feeling? Are you come down with something?
Yeah, I got a little bit of a cold, I guess. I don't know. I've been coughing the last couple of days, but besides
that's just the Boston sea air.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Besides that, overall, it's been good over here, just hanging out. And as we predicted, the Suns did a lot better from what we thought last week. So overall, a good week.
We predicted. Correction, as Kevin predicted, yes. Who is not here to bask in his own glory. We don't know where Kevin's at. Kevin, if you're watching us live, you're supposed to be on the show. But we predicted 1 and 2. We said this is going to take this team a while. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's not get too excited. We don't want to get our hopes up. Kevin said, no, we're beating the Spurs and we're beating the Clippers and we're going to lose to the Warriors. And I was like, okay, 1, we're not beating the Spurs. So let's just get that out of our heads right now. 2, if we're going to win, maybe we surprise the Warriors. I don't know. And I mean, the Clippers already beat us up pretty good. And then it just didn't happen at all like that at all. And then we ended up finishing with the Clippers. We'll play the Clippers again today. But we ended up going up against the Clippers, who I guess maybe you and I kind of predicted it, that they even though they beat us up pretty good earlier in the season, they are an injury management team. And they were without James Harden for personal reasons, Kawhi Leonard, and I think a couple other maybe rotational players. But yeah, they were pretty shorthanded, and we were able to get the win there. So shout out to Kevin. Kevin was right. 2-1. And let's jump right into, did you know that Victor Wembanyama is not a very good player? I mean, my goodness, 4 of 14, only 10 points, only 9 rebounds, 6 turnovers. What's the deal, Bruce? Is Victor just can't hang with the Suns?
Nah, I mean, Vic's been absolutely dominating. I think the credit's got to be due to Jordan Ott and this Suns coaching staff, because they were able to limit Victor Wembanyama and kind of give this blueprint of swarming him with multiple defenders and giving him different looks, regardless if it's big men, regardless if it's young guards, regardless if it's wings. They were getting guys like Royce O'Neal throwing on him. I believe Jordan Goodwin's first really minutes of the season came in this contest versus the San Antonio Spurs, which he had a big role playing on Victor Wembanyama and helping out down there. He played in 20 minutes, had 11 points, 2 assists, and 3 rebounds, was very effective on that. And Vic is always going to be dominating. I don't know if this, like I talked about this in another podcast, I don't know if this kind of scheme is going to be able to work throughout his career. Like obviously it's a little bit of a blueprint to stall him now. It worked with the Suns. I believe it worked in their next game when they played the Los Angeles Lakers as well, when they used Rui Hachimura and Marcus Smart to kind of guard him and use that as like sending two guys and using different sizes to kind of limit him. I do think that they will kind of be able to oversee that, and the Spurs will be able to kind of get through that. But for the Suns, this was a big stepping stone win. It was the Spurs' first loss of the year, and for a team that a lot of people were counting out after last week's kind of kerfuffles that they were having in the middle of the week, I think this was a big stamp for the Suns, for their fan base to say, hey, we might lose some close ones, but we can out here and we will keep fighting and maybe pull out some ones that you weren't expecting. And that's what we want to see as Suns fans.
Well, and on the Victor Wemby, I'll just switch to Wemby and instead of trying to butcher his name. But Wemby, he's got a little bit of that Giannis vibe. I mean, just a freak athlete who can move well with the ball, tall. He's actually got some speed to him. As we jokingly referred to him, he's the 2K my player that like everyone wants to try at least once. Personally, I'm more of a back to the basket center, but you know me, I'm old school like that. Yeah, Wemby, he's not great from three. He shoots threes to try and keep defenses honest, kind of like Giannis. But he shoots like 32, 33% for his career. So you need somebody that's going to form a wall so he just doesn't sprint down and dunk it. But then you need somebody that can swipe at it, kind of like we experienced in the Kevin Durant experience the last couple of years, where KD would take it at the top of the key and then he'd say, I'm going to drive right into the teeth of the defense. And some little guy always would swipe hard at it and knock it out. And then, oh man, there's turnover number 6 for Kevin Durant, but you have to take the good with the bad. Take that, Rockets. I saw 8 turnovers last game. So.
No, I agree. I completely, I would agree with that point. And for the Suns, they had not only were they able to limit Victor Wembanyama, but they were able to do some pretty solid stuff on their own. Devin Booker, 28 points, 13 assists, 2 rebounds, was very effective. Colin Gillespie, 15 and 4. Like I mentioned, Jordan Goodwin, I believe these were his first minutes of the season. He actually got to step up and develop. And then I think the best part about it was we actually got to see Kobe Bryant, Kaman Malawach, and Rasheer Fleming get minutes. I know it was late towards the end of the game, but in a game versus the San Antonio Spurs, if you thought they were going to get minutes, you probably thought it was because they were losing the game by a lot. In this case, it was that the Suns were winning the game, which was, I think, even a little bit more beneficial and a little bit more rewarding for the fans.
Yeah. And I'll be honest, one of my predictions, or at least hopes for this game, was to see Malawach get tangled with Wemby at some point. Unfortunately, we did not see that because we were beating up on the Spurs too much. We weren't going to force Wemby to have to experience the Malawach experience. But like you said, Devin Booker had 28 points, 13 assists. The Grayson Allen, Royce O'Neal, I know you and some of Suns Twitter have been saying for last year plus, like it's too duplicative. 3-and-D guy, like we need something else. And you could throw maybe like a Ryan Dunn in there, not as much potent from three, but better defensively than the other two. But all of them are all of a sudden, I mean, it's not just 1 or 2 games that they've been playing well this season. I don't know what it is. Like we're used to Royce being a little bit more of a streaky shooter. It seems like he's shooting with confidence. Grayson Allen is almost always getting 3-4 assists and taking the ball to the basket, shooting from deep. Like I'm excited to watch Grayson Allen play just about any time. I mean, what do you think? Is it just that without Kevin Durant, without Bradley Beal, these other guys understand that they have the green light, so they're playing looser? Whereas, when you have KD and Beal and Booker on the team, it's like, all right, you get 3 3-pointers, you better make 2 of them or else you're on the bench kind of feel.
I feel like it's just that they just have less offensive pieces that they need to kind of play the ball through. Like you're kind of saying, like they don't have to run the ball through KD, Booker, and Beal to where one of them is just kind of standing in the corner, that these guys are just like not getting as many shot opportunities, but when they are getting their shot opportunities, the shot that does look a little weird because, say, KD and Beal are out, maybe a Royce O'Neal and Grayson Allen are getting a 10-plus shot night, but if they are healthy and available, maybe they're only getting a 5-shot or 6-shot night, which obviously every other game, if that's kind of switching, it's going to obviously mess with their streaky shooting and kind of limit that. To your point, I mean, I will say it, when I'm wrong, I'm wrong. And with Grayson Allen and Royce O'Neal, I was vouching for them to be traded, vouching them to kind of be out of the Suns team. And with Royce O'Neal, I didn't really see a spot within this rotation kind of going into this wing room because I thought they might have prioritized some of these younger guys.
I was really late on that.
No, you're good. But because of that, I obviously was thinking of that. But now that I see them using Royce O'Neal, and he's a little bit slower on the defensive end, I will say that, with his switchability and stuff, but he's still a valuable three-point shooter, and he has been very consistent for the Suns on the offensive end. Grayson Allen, like you mentioned, has not only been consistent from beyond the arc, where we know he's been, where he can be, where he got his contract from, but he also can be a solid playmaker, and he's been very, very aggressive as well on the defensive side and helping out the Phoenix Suns, not giving up. And those are little tendencies that I like to see out of these players, right? And for me, Grayson Allen, Royce O'Neal might be on a little bit of weird contracts, but if the Suns are going to be in this kind of middle of the pack spot, having those extra role players is going to be key because they still need that offense. Clearly, as we saw with Jalen Green not being here, we still needed that offense. So maybe this is the year where they can kind of build up their trade value and kind of showcase what they truly can be in their best moments, so that if they do get traded into a situation, they can be kind of at least a little bit hotter and comfortable in that role, similar to a Grayson Allen going back to a 6th, 7th man, and maybe Royce O'Neal into a 7th, 8th man, comparative to where they're having to be 5th/6th men, depending on who is injured for this Suns roster, because both have started at some points.
Well, and I don't want to trade him yet because as of right now, playoff watch, we are, I believe it said 7th seed. So we went from outside the playoffs all the way to 7th. That's what you get for early season shenanigans. And but yeah, no, I was so impressed. I did not expect any of this in the Suns Spurs game. The Spurs, the Suns did luck out. Dylan Harper, I think, twisted an ankle or something like that, a lower body injury. He ended up having to leave the game, and that has dampened my fantasy basketball outlook for the moment. But they still have a lot of other talent. Devin Vassell, he was real cold, 2 of 9 shooting, 0 of 6 from 3. Stephen Castle, he was really the only one that kind of was clicking for the Spurs with 26 points. Otherwise, I guess Keldon Johnson came off the bench and scored some. We also saw an appearance of former Suns fan favorite Bismack Biyombo on a new team, as he is always. And he got some minutes there. But like I said, the Suns were just we shot, how about this, 58% from 3. That's not too bad, Suns fans. That's not too bad at all. Your starting lineup: Booker hit 2 of 2, Grayson Allen 5 of 9, Royce O'Neal 3 of 5, Ryan Dunn 3 of 4. I've seen, it's funny because I've seen Suns Twitter say, all we're doing is taking it in the paint and just shooting at the basket. And then now I'm reading, all we're doing is chucking up threes. Well, either way, it actually seems to be working both ways, because we were leading, we were, I think, top 5, top 6 points in the paint. And now we are actually shooting the ball pretty well from 3. Let me ask you real quick. Has Devin Booker ever shot this well from 3?
The statistically?
Yes.
Oh,
I don't know it. I just looked it up before this show. I wanted to see if he's had no. As of right now, 9 games into the season.
No.
Okay, correct. His career average is 35.5% from 3. He is shooting 43.1% right now. Last year, he shot 33%. So he's 10 points over last year. This is something that I think as Suns fans, we've been begging for ever since he won the 3-point shooting contest. It's like, all right, we know you can shoot threes. We need you to do it in games and make it consistently and become a scary threat. His best before this season was 38.3%. So he is currently nearly 5 points over his career best. It could obviously always cool off. So, me speaking it into existence, not what I'm trying to do here. I'm just want to give the man the credit that he is due. He's taking over 6 3-pointers a game, and he's knocking down 2.8 of them for 43%. So I'm loving it. He's keeping his assist averages high at 7 a game right now. He was a little turnover prone early in the season, but otherwise, believe it or not, he's actually playing less minutes right now. Not a whole lot, but what, 30 seconds less than he was last season. So he's doing it all more efficiently, and I don't know. It just, can I go back and say it's just more fun? Like everything. His overall shooting is up too. He was 46.1 last year. He's at 50.8 right now.
Yeah, because I was going to say he has been absolutely insane. And the reason why I knew this was going to happen was because of him being by himself this year. And we kind of talked about this before the season and stuff like that. But I remember on our podcast before the season, like the one that we did like a couple weeks ago, we talked about Devin Booker. And I said, I think he's going to be able to average 30 points within this offense because they're going to let him be his own. And we saw this kind of towards the end of last season.
Did you predict it to be this efficient? Because most people would say, hey, no Beal, no Durant. More people are going to go after Booker, which we've seen. He was getting double teamed, especially early in the first few games, a lot. And the system, the alignment, the physicality, I'm not sure what, or just having Dunn be able to hit threes, O'Neal out there, Grayson Allen, and they live on that. They keep moving. They don't just stand in the corner. They will move. Like Grayson does a really good job of he'll fake the shot, dribble, move to the side, shoot again. Royce will set a screen, come back out, shoot the three. Dunn kind of runs back and forth. If he can't go in and try and dunk it, then he's running off to the next corner. And so I don't know if it's just that Durant and Beal would just be like, all right, it's your turn to go. And these guys actually run to get open shots, and that pulls people away from Booker. But I don't know. Like, I was with you. I thought Booker, we needed him to go off and do that. He's averaging over 30 points a game, best ever. But this efficiently?
I didn't know if it was going to be this efficiently at shooting around 50% from the field and 43% or 51% from the field and like 43% from three. Probably something more similar to
career highs. Yeah.
Yeah, something more similar probably to around like a 46, 47 probably shooting percentage, I probably thought. So maybe we'll tone down a little bit as we go into the season. Similar to maybe some games where he does get swarmed or if he does get double teamed like we were talking about earlier in the season, that could kind of tilt his numbers down a little bit more. But from the end of last year, seeing without Durant, seeing without Beal, I thought that we were going to see that change. To your point of them kind of standing in the corner, I think that was just kind of Budenholzer's random offense of just doing nothing.
I think Jordan, he unlocks. He was going to unlock the offense that Vogel couldn't do.
Yes, I think Jordan Ott clearly just has like a better understanding of basketball, but also like with him being a younger head coach and being an assistant on some of these top head teams, like he was with the Lakers with Darvin Ham, who were in the playoffs with a good successful team playing with coaching LeBron. He was over in Brooklyn with Kevin Durant and all of them. He was over in Cleveland with Evan Mobley and that young squad with Kenny Atkinson. He understands that the game is changing and that pace of play is going to be presented faster and that teams have to play with that faster pace of play. From looking at the teams that made the finals last year and the Pacers and the Thunder, that was kind of clearly evident. So I think a guy in Jordan Ott's kind of ability to run these schemes and kind of show these guys what they need to do to get those second chance efforts is making guys like Grayson Allen and Royce O'Neal kind of fight a little bit harder, maybe a little bit comparative to last year, maybe with the season starting out a little bit better as well. And then I think another thing that is very key for the Suns' success, not only is it Devin Booker going out and getting 30 points and being that commanding scorer, but it's everyone else around him really stepping up and delivering. In that San Antonio Spurs game, there were 7 Phoenix Suns that played that had double-digit points, and that is very, very effective for this team. We saw it in the Clippers game just the other day as well. I believe 6 of those players were in double-digit points. So when the Suns have multiple guys that can get going, even if it is only 2 or 3 threes, right? Maybe they're 3 for 5 from three-point range or something like that. Or maybe they have one little quarter like a Colin Gillespie from a couple of nights ago where he drops 10 points in a quarter and takes that little stint when Devin Booker's out there versus the Grizzlies. Just those little moments, if certain players can pick that up and can do it in those spurts, maybe not consistently throughout the game, but just here and there, that will even help the Suns a little bit more into being a little bit deeper and having a little bit more ways to kind of be better in those aspects as well.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I think, in light of what we've seen in some interviews leading into the season and throughout the season with Kevin Durant and Bradley Beal, and just kind of obviously what we witnessed with Coach Vogel, Coach Williams for that matter too, but also, and then obviously Coach Bud last year, you need players that actually will accept being coached and don't feel as though they're necessarily above the coach. Now, some players are just above the coach because it's a player-driven league. you can win with terrible coaching and amazing players. But I think with Bradley Beal's most recent comments of when was the last time I shot 14 shots for the Suns, claiming basically that he was not being able to be Bradley Beal. He shot over 14 shots in the second to last game of the season last year, so it wasn't that long ago for him. I don't know why he forgot. In fact, he averaged 13.1 a game last year. So, but like, I see you, I'm teeing you up here for a reason, but yeah, like Beal said that. Kevin Durant said, "Oh, they didn't build an offense around me. I had to adapt my game to them. They didn't want to include me enough in the offense." Now, I don't know if that's true. If that is true, Kevin still played pretty well for us. Bradley, we heard, of course, hey, don't that he was offended to be, oh, you get to be the Drew Holiday, be a big defender guard. Don't tell me to be somebody else. It's like, I don't know, Brad. I don't think you want to be Brad right now. I think you should want to be Drew. Drew has a title. Drew has made defensive teams, and that would have made a difference. And I'm amazed to see guys like Beal and Durant so adamant that the Suns organization let them down by not letting them be who they want to be. And then you see these guys actually having fun out there. Like I'm seeing Coach Ott, breaking down the game and telling Jalen Green, "Welcome to the Valley." And you see smiles on players' faces as opposed to just like, "All right, yeah, another boring coach speech. Let's go. Let's get out of here. Like I'm tired of this already." So I don't know. That was a long-winded way for me to tee you up and say, Durant and Beal, what were they smoking while they were in the Valley?
I mean, the Bradley Beal quote was kind of hilarious. I saw that the other day, and I saw all of Suns Twitter kind of reacting to that, the 14 shots a game. I don't know what Bradley Beal really thought was going to happen when he came over to Phoenix, like similar or to the Brooklyn Nets from a couple years ago with Durant, Kyrie, and Harden. It's just three guys that need the ball in their hands to score. None of them can play off. Well, Booker can play off ball effectively, but not really. The other two can play off effectively. And they're just going to stand in the corner like we were talking about, just waiting for their shot opportunity as Booker runs the pick and roll with Nurkic, and Nurkic does his one good thing, setting the screen, while he then cuts to the basket and tries to find an open three-pointer just to find Tyus Jones in the corner to miss the three-point shot. That's a pretty embarrassing thing. Now, with Durant and Beal, I do think there are kind of ways of proclaiming that is a little truth. There's a little truth to it, because even though they did kind of fit in, I don't think that they really built the team around Durant and Booker. I think it was kind of Matt Ishbia coming in saying, "Well, I want a secondary scorer. We need to take this leap. So I'm going to go and get Kevin Durant because he's out on the trade block." And then after that, they didn't really realize what cohesion they wanted to make. That's why they went out and got Bradley Beal, because if they were actually smart, they would have gone out and gotten Drew Holiday, because Drew Holiday would have been available at that point. They could have been able to do something like that. And then they could have had Drew Holiday on their team actually playing the role next to Devin Booker that would have been successful with them and Kevin Durant. Had some quality role players like a Grayson Allen or Royce O'Neal, maybe even find that low value center out there on the market with one of those contracts. And they would have actually been set up to do something. Do I think that comment of calling Bradley Beal Drew Holiday is a little extreme as well? Yes, because I don't think that Bradley Beal is anywhere near Drew Holiday and a type of player, and I don't think he can resemble that type of player. So I think Mike Budenholzer even asking that question is a little bit of insulting, because I don't understand how he can think that he can get that out of Bradley Beal, as we clearly see from Bradley Beal's performances versus the Suns so far in the season. Mm-hmm. He's actually helped the Suns more than I think has hurt.
No, Bradley Beal's been one of our best players in the
season. Exactly.
So we appreciate you, Bradley. Personally, I mean, I wasn't at the game because I don't live there. I try and get to a game a year, but I saw a lot of Twitter debate about whether somebody should be booed or not. Personally, I don't think he needs to be booed. The man got paid in Washington, and we took a shot because we hoped he was going to be great. And I've said this before. When the trade went through for second-round picks and a Chris Paul that we saw was just chucking up balls in the fourth quarter because he was gassed, I was like, wow, we're getting Bradley Beal. That is phenomenal. Let's go see what this can do. Obviously, it blew up and did not much. And we see Beal coming off the court, not high-fiving Vogel, in playoff games when we're getting swept. He's saying that he never gets to shoot 14. KD, and then, Beal saying that he doesn't want to be Drew Holiday. Kevin Durant, they didn't build this stuff around me. I don't know. We got Yuta Watanabe because he was good with Kevin Durant in Brooklyn. We went out and got Royce O'Neal because he was good in Brooklyn with Kevin Durant. We tried to bring in Kevin's buddies and good role players for him. So I would push back a little and say maybe it wasn't totally built in around them. And yeah, obviously a Drew Holiday in retrospect would have been much better than a Beal. But I think we got our hands tied so quickly on cap stuff that what we were able to do was, I think we were able to try and build around them with what limited options we could, which was, hey, Kevin, who are your buddies that you like to play with that can maybe do some stuff? Oh, I do well with Royce. I do well with Yuta. Okay, we'll go get them. It kind of reminded me of, oh, gosh, if you go back to the 10 terrible years where it was like, we were just like, okay, Booker, who's your new best friend? He can stay on our team for a while. And we'd have like Tyler Ulis running the point. And it's like, well, he's good friends with Book, so you got to keep Book happy. You got to let his buddies out there and play. But either way, this is a Suns podcast. We don't have to sit there and laugh at the guys that no longer are on our team because it sucks to be them. They're outside the valley. It wasn't all sunshine, though. And this week we did play the Golden State Warriors, and the Warriors were able to take care of us fairly well, 118-107. This was a game where, we're down Dylan Brooks. We're down Jalen Green still at this point. Devin Booker goes off in an impressive way, 38 points on 13 of 24 shooting. Not quite as efficient from three, but he didn't get much other help. Mark Williams chipped in with 16. Grayson Allen was 16. And Mark Williams cleaning up the boards, 9 offensive rebounds. Oh, my gosh. Mark Williams fan club, baby. Oh, my goodness, this man is impressive. But the Warriors are the Warriors, and it's going to be tough. And they were pretty much, full strength. I'll call them full strength. And Steph Curry, 28 points, and Moses Moody, 24 points as well. So this was just a tough one. It seemed like when we were starting to make some moves in classic Warrior fashion, they know how to answer runs pretty well. So it just it never quite felt like we were getting comfortable.
Yeah, I would agree. I believe you said the Suns shot 50% from three versus San Antonio Spurs. It was some number like that.
Yeah, over 50%. Yeah, it was like 55.
Versus the Warriors, they shot 36%. So a very, very steep drop off.
A bit of a swing.
And that's obviously understandable. The Warriors are, the birthers basically of this 3-point wave with Stephen Curry and stuff like that. And it was clear and evident in this game that they were just getting those easy baskets. One thing with the Suns that I've noticed, maybe that isn't really seen on the stat sheet, but is when they're playing against other teams, their off-ball communication and switching is a little bit of an issue where they kind of get lost in that communication, allowing another opponent to kind of get free. And that was happening a lot in this Golden State Warriors game where some of these players were a little bit open from three-point range on some of these miscommunications from the Suns switching around, and it was leaving the Warriors open three-point shots. And for the Warriors, as I mentioned, you can't really kind of do that. They are very strong in that regard there. But like you mentioned, the Suns did have some positives. One was that in this game, they never gave up. There were times where they were down, I believe, like 18, 20, like high point values, and they kept fighting and fighting throughout this game. First half started out, I believe, what it was. They were down 33-19 in the first quarter and then 35-30. So coming into the first half, at the end of the first half, they were down a pretty decent amount. But in the second half, they come out in the third quarter and outscore the Warriors 34-24 and actually kind of build that momentum back. But unfortunately, lose it late to the Golden State Warriors. But Mark Williams, like you mentioned, was an absolute beast. I'm glad you're the founder of his fan club because over on Brightside, I've done a couple articles about him, and he's been absolutely fantastic. 16 rebounds, a season high for the big man, 9 offensive rebounds in a game where I do believe that the Suns did out-rebound the Golden State Warriors, a rare thing for the Phoenix Suns to do in a game. 46-39.
Yeah.
Yes, and they had 16 offensive rebounds compared to the Warriors' 8, which just goes to show you that Mark Williams' 9 offensive rebounds were a big win in that category for the Suns, but also he out-rebounded the freaking Warriors on offensive rebounds. That is insane. An individual versus a team. That just goes to show you that with Mark Williams, it is still early. He's still a young center as well, still young in his career, and he might not be this top 10, top 5 dominating center in the league. But if he could stay healthy, he could be a considerable 15 to top 20 center in the NBA, which is what the Suns have been wanting for these last 3 years alongside Devin Booker.
Well, and I think what's impressive too is, for example, the Warriors game 16-16 with 4 assists, if you want to throw that in there as well. Absolutely. 16 points, 16 rebounds, 4 assists, and a steal. And he's doing it in all 3 games this week. He never crossed, he never played over 28 minutes. You're getting 16-16 in less than 28 minutes a game. Imagine what you're going to do when you hit 30 minutes a game, 32 minutes a game, 33 minutes a game. So it's so impressive to see. I understand why they're limiting his minutes still. But I'm really glad that he's in the starting lineup. And it's just, as long as his health holds out, fingers crossed. But I am here for it. Allow him to ramp up and take as much time to ramp up as he needs, because even in the limited minutes, as most of the other starters went over 30, he's still not just producing double-doubles, but impressive double-doubles.
Exactly. And for Williams, I believe the highest amount of games he's played in his career is 44. So just over that halfway mark. So for the Suns, they obviously in a contract year want to make sure that they can get to probably at least 60 to 65. I think that would be the very happy spot for them. If they could get any more out of Mark Williams in that regard, I think they would be even more ecstatic. So that's why I think they kind of limited him kind of in that preseason, worked him into that 5-on-5 and are taking this different approach. And I like that for the Suns, because even though we have seen these injuries with Jalen Green, with Dylan Brooks, with I guess the tendency of keeping Mark Williams healthy, not really injured, being delayed, right? We all have to wait 10 games to see Jalen Green. We have to wait 6 games to see Mark Williams. I think that's better for the Suns, because the last couple of years we've had the injury bug, and what happens? They get injured, they come back, and then they get injured again. Then they come back, and they get injured again. And then they come back, and they get injured again. And then there's just no solution. And it's everybody's getting injured. It's Grayson's out for a couple of weeks. Royce is out for a couple of weeks. KD's out. KD's back. KD plays for 3 games. Then KD's out again. We can't be having that with our star players, especially in a season.
Well, we didn't have that with Bradley Beal. He said, wow, when I get injured, they let me actually sit back and rest, which became a problem in the exact opposite direction.
Exactly. But for these guys, I think, especially in a growing season this year too, where the expectations is unknown at this point, right? We don't know what our expectations are. No one has championship or bust kind of labeled on us as we have in the past. I feel like this is the best way for the Suns to handle the situation, because they don't want to put a guy like Mark Williams in a position where he has to play extra hard to qualify for something, to fight for his contract if he doesn't need to, because I feel like the Suns have that opportunity to see the best they can out of Mark Williams in these minutes so far that they already have, to kind of get that evaluation, not to where they need to rush him to see how dominant he can be in these instances that the Suns need him the most.
For sure. Well,
what's the name of that nightclub of yours again?
You talking about the Boom Boom Room?
Yeah, the Boom Boom Room. That's it. Funky. Yeah. Funky. Yeah. Funky. Yeah. Funky. Yeah.
I forget, we still got to get you in the boom room at some point. Yeah, we're going to have you working security here for a little bit longer. Every good club needs a bouncer.
I got you.
But see, this is what I'm a little nervous about. I had no expectations when this season began. Now I do. No, hold on. Hold on, Suns viewer.
No.
Just that it's so fun when you don't have expectations. And it reminds me of the here's another movie reference for you, Bruce. By the way, did you ever get around to checking out Replacements?
No, but I will this weekend.
Yeah, this week. I've heard this.
No, I know. But I was told by my other friends, because ironically, not to go off topic here, but my friends brought up that movie the other day, and I was like, oh, my co-host told me to watch that movie. Like, you have to watch that movie. So I was like, okay.
It's a solid one. It's a solid flick. There's another great one called Dodgeball. And
yes, I know Dodgeball.
And there's a line in there when the gal, she's Christine Taylor, she's they're trying to run through the accounting books for Average Joe's Gym, and you see Vince Vaughn just kind of sitting back, and And she's like, do you not like file anything? He's like, I know, hard to imagine. I've only got one semester of community college under my belt or something like that. And she says, there's a great line. She said, like, is it just apathy, or do you really not have a goal in life? And he goes, I found if you have a goal, you might not make it. But if you have no expectations, then you're never disappointed. And I got to say, it feels phenomenal.
I agree.
That's where I'm at with this Suns team right now, is that I have zero expectations and they continue to crush it. I do not want to be like, hey, you know what? You better start delivering now. No, I want to continue to be impressed, continue to be surprised for this team. Another good question that was asked, and we talked a little bit about it last show, lack of playing time for rookies. Michael P. knows that there's good reasons, but feels that the only way the rookies are going to go is with some actual court time. We talked about this a little bit before, and, I think the only difference that I would say this week compared to last week is we have seen the plateau of development for young sophomore Oso Ighodaro, who has quickly found himself from being the Suns' darling of the second round last year to why is this man even on my team on the Suns media social factors. Let's see. Let's take a look at him quickly this week. So against the Spurs, he played 14 minutes. Had 4 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, 3 turnovers against Golden State. Over 20 minutes played, he was 1 of 4 shooting for 2 points, 5 rebounds, a couple blocks. And then against the Clippers, and we'll get into that game here in a moment, he played over 11 minutes. So we did see a decline from the Warriors game for sure. He took 1 shot, missed it, 3 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal. Is Oso Ighodaro just kind of taking up minutes and not doing too much right now? Or do you, I mean, like, those minutes could go to Nick Richards, who can kind of help keep Mark Williams fresh. A few minutes could go back to Mark Williams as long as they think that his legs are healthy. Or is it time to release the Kraken, release the Malawach, and see what he can do in 10 to 15 minute kind of role player minutes. What do you think?
I think it's time to hold off the model watch unleashing at this moment. I think that similar to what King Nacho said in the chat as well, is they are showcasing Ryan and Grayson. Rookies will play more at the end of the season. And I completely agree with that statement. I think that once we get closer and closer to the middle of the season, we're going to see where these rookies can kind of fit in and play. And also we're trying to build trade value of our other players just in case the Suns, let's not forget last year, they started off 8-1 and then what happened. So anything can happen with this season. They can have a bright start, but then what happens in the middle of the season happens in the middle of the season. And those players can have the value to be tradable assets to help the Suns in the future. So that's what this front office is trying to think about. They're not just going to implement these rookies and trying to ruin their mental immediately. It's not like the Phoenix Suns don't have any role players that can play. They have actual guys like Royce, like Grayson, like Booker and stuff. We're not the Wizards or the Kings or the Jazz that are just all young guys and we're not playing our first round pick. There's a little bit of a difference.
And I always keep thinking of those Wizards. Like, I feel bad for that fan base and that attempt because, like, they have added some like veterans before. Like you could say, like Jordan Poole, they brought him in to kind of like show them all how to score. That didn't work. They brought in Chris Middleton. They brought in Kyle Kuzma. They've tried to bring in some of these guys, but it's really just a couple of veterans that are like, all right, I just got to sit here until some other team comes and rescues me if I'm going to get out, and I might as well just collect a paycheck and hang out. And I'm just not seeing much development from their young players at all because it's very easy. There was this old adage I remember hearing is that you always heard practice makes perfect. But one curve I always was told about that was practice makes permanent. If you continue to practice the same poor way, you will form bad habits and it will continue to reinforce itself in games. And I think the teams like the Wizards are seeing that. Like, okay, just throw out the youth brigade and hope that something catches on, and it's just not really happening yet. That's why I like what the Suns are doing, and I agree. I think it's going to be we're going to see the Royce and Allen showcase. They're going to build their value. And if things, don't continue to ascend, then they'll probably be moved at the deadline and hopefully for some draft capital. And we're going to see these younger guys who have had time to, soak it in. I mean, the amount of travel that they're doing, the amount of games that they have to play, it's tiring for these rookies. There are rookie walls, and I think it's a lot easier. Now, do I wish they were getting more than mop-up minutes? Absolutely. I hope they find ways to say, hey, you know what, Fleming, let's try you for 12 minutes tonight and try and give you a little bit more of a shot. But
I know the Valley Suns haven't started either, so we could see them kind of getting worked into there as well. I know from personal experience from viewing the Boston Celtics, they've had their rookies in the past, mainly their rookie season, just play basically for the main Celtics. Even though they have a roster spot, they're most likely playing with that team. So we can see that with guys like Malawach or Rasheer Fleming getting dropped down for a game or two to go play down in the Valley and then, still be able to come back up. And maybe they learn some things down there, specifically a guy like Malawach who still has to come up to the speed of the game, right? Maybe they get some of that development in there for him earlier on the season. So then by December, January, he can come and be a mainstay within this offense and kind of be a force. I also think that's something that Oso Ighodaro could see as well, tying back into him, because he has had those struggles for the Phoenix Suns, like you've mentioned. I still think that he shouldn't be completely shunned by the Suns community over on social media.
That was a little bit of a strange one.
where they're like out there with their pitchforks ready to go, like the second round pick that we took a flyer on isn't panning out. What are we gonna do? Because guess what? That never
he was
really
even in
happened.
the top 100 players listed of the draft.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He was someone that I knew his name coming into the draft, but a majority of people probably didn't know, and was someone that played in the Big East. But I think him trying to figure out his role as well, I think he's better at that power forward position alongside of Nick Richards, alongside of Mark Williams. We'll have to kind of see if Jordan Ott is still going to use him as that center or use him as that power forward, because I do think in that double big lineup, he looks a little bit better for the Suns team and has had some better Suns splits. But yes, he has failed, has not looked the best so far this season. But once again, he's a sophomore player, a young guy still looking to develop, a second round pick as well, a middle second round pick, not someone that was a former lottery pick that had all these expectations. I think for Suns fans that are overreacting a little too much with Oso Ighodaro, yes, could he be a little bit better? 100%. But was he supposed to be this standout backup big / starting center that we all thought and dreamed was going to be? No. So I think that the tempering of expectations needs to be handled by the Suns fans, but also we could expect to see a little bit more. Maybe a guy like Nick Richards, because he's a little bit better of a backup center, maybe take some of those minutes from Ighodaro, or we get to see those, maybe a guy like Angel Hayes Davis kind of loses some more minutes and we get to see, or maybe Royce or something, and we get to see Oso in that like 4/5 playing alongside one of the bigs.
I think, I still wish the Suns would have taken Armando Bakat, just because that's a fun name to say, but he's over in Turkey, I think is the last thing I saw for him. He was the great Tar Heel center that was in the championship game with him a couple of years ago. But that's neither here nor there. Oso Ighodaro, I think the other thing is that his game is it's not a stat stuffing style of play.
100%.
He's not much of a three-point shooter. He's got a little floater. He doesn't really dunk much. He's not a speedster. He doesn't handle the ball a ton. His job is to get the ball, hold it in the middle, top of the key, and then look for somebody cutting or coming off of a screen and dish it off to them, who then that person might dish again and get. So he might, pass to the assist man, and that's it. And then, so his numbers, expecting him to get 20 and 10, even if when he's a starter getting starting minutes, that would be unusual for his style of play. So I think for more of the casual Suns fan, it's easy to be like, who's this guy? And when you see like a Mark Williams, or you see, hey, we took a 10th pick on a center, let's play him a little bit more. But, in terms of intangibles, that's what Oso has. He's got a lot of the fundamentals down, and I'm okay with reducing his minutes down a little bit until he, Oso would thrive in the WNBA. Yes, he would certainly do very, very well there. But right now he's one of those fundamental guys that kind of does everything okay enough to keep the engine rolling. Like, you don't want to rely on Oso, and they didn't in college. They didn't at Marquette, and I think that's why the Suns drafted him, is that they didn't look at him as, oh, he'll give us a lot of points in the paint or a lot of big defense or something like that. No, but he will keep the big engine on the track and keep the offense flowing, and he'll be a solid, if unimpressive, defender. So, but as for the other young guys, Fleming, Brea, we've kind of already touched on it. Allen and O'Neal are being showcased. And right now, hey, we've won 3 of our last 4. Now, granted, it was against a Clippers team that was really hurt and missing some guys, and another one was the Jazz. So that's what I mean. I don't want to have too much expectations right now because it's really exciting to see 3-1 over a 4-game span. I want to see kind of a little bit more what goes on. Nigel Hayes-Davis, you pointed him out too. I kind of forgot he was on the team this week. He did show up and get some minutes. He's not really doing much. The PJ Tucker, the diamond in the rough that we are hoping to find out of Europe, he is not, at least not yet. And I don't have any expectation that he's going to hit. So I think there's going to be 10 to 15 minutes that Ott gets to play with here and there. And so far, rotation-wise, and not that I'm any guru on this stuff, but I've seen what bad ones look like thanks to Coach Bud and to a degree Coach Vogel, that I'm really kind of liking what Ott's doing.
Yeah, I'm really liking what he's been able to do within this team, within these rotations, and kind of just giving the best for the Phoenix Suns in every single way with just kind of giving all the switchability within this team. I kind of was confused with the starting lineup or their last game because Dunn wasn't in the starting lineup, and that was kind of a shock to me. No Dylan.
That was a surprise.
They had Royce O'Neal. They had a 3-guard lineup, I do believe, in that starting 5 with Mark Williams, and that was a little bit of something where I was kind of taken back, but clearly it worked to show. And I think that you got to give credit to Jordan Ott with all that creativity, because that's something that I personally wouldn't have thought of. So just his ability to not only just be a solid head coach, know the right plays, but I think also understand, like I said, the game of basketball with him being a younger mind and him being one of the younger head coaches, I think is very key for the Suns, because they are also one of the younger teams in the NBA as well. So you can kind of relate to that to their players. Like, hey, I'm just kind of trying to make my own imprint. You're trying to make your own imprint. Let's work together to kind of do this as a one cohesive unit. And I think that's kind of good, because some of these younger players will listen to that. We'll vibe with that. We'll actually listen to Coach Jordan Ott, someone that maybe isn't like a Mike Budenholzer, who maybe some of the players around the league know from some other of their former friends, like, oh yeah, this guy doesn't like this certain type of player, or maybe
I don't even have a relationship with Coach. Yeah,
exactly.
So many things that were odd with Bud. I'm so glad that when I remember his first press conference, and I remember seeing Al McCoy there, and I thought, man, like, I really want to like this guy, but I was never high on Coach Bud. And I just remember him being there, and I don't know if it, high blood pressure, what was going on, but his eyes looked bloodshot. He looked tired. And he had taken a year off from the game and like cleared his head, and I think got remarried, and I don't know what was going on, but the dude looked like he wasn't slurring words, but he looked like he came off a bender the night prior. And he just looked like he was hurting a little bit. Ott looks healthy. And you're right. Maybe he doesn't have a reputation yet of any type of negativity. It's always easier to like the assistant coaches who are always just like, hey, here's some suggestions on how to do that better next time, as opposed to now I have to bench you, So I can totally see that. But well, let's talk a little bit more about this Clippers game. As we talked about, it kind of started slow for the Suns. We ended up winning by 13, but it wasn't because of the first half. In fact, we went up over 4 in the first quarter, but then we actually lost the lead coming in. And as we start in the second half, we were down 3 to start. So it wasn't the best start, and the Clippers were without James Harden and without Kawhi Leonard. And so they were certainly shorthanded, and the Suns were, hey, Jalen Green's back. And so what's interesting, you talked about positional positions in Ott's kind of creativity. I'm looking at the box score on Yahoo Sports. They say the Suns started shooting guard Devin Booker, shooting guard Jalen Green, shooting guard Grayson Allen, small forward Royce O'Neal, center Mark Williams. So 3 shooting guards. But hey, it worked. And let's just start with the highlight of the game. Jalen Green, first game for Phoenix. Everyone's ready to trade this guy. Let's move him for Ja Morant. And he comes in, leads with 29 points, shooting 6 of 13 from 3 for 46%, 10 of 20 overall. He was a plus 30 on his plus minus, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, and a couple of steals in less than 23 minutes. Jalen Green,
Yeah.
better than Kevin Durant, or much better than Kevin Durant?
I don't know if we could put it in that category yet, but I will say that I think a lot of people were wrong on Jalen Green. And I personally was a little bit skeptical of the fit, but was not skeptical of the player. I've been a fan of Jalen Green since high school. That was kind of when I was like in college around the area when I was still young, paying attention back in the day to the high school players. And he was one of the more athletic, dynamic downhill attackers in high school, and going over into the NBA, he was going to be that. Unfortunately for the Rockets, had some inconsistencies, but also was fighting with, Fred VanVleet, fighting with Sengun, fighting for that number 1 option. Here in Phoenix, he doesn't have to be that number 1 option. He can comfortably be that number 2, can be that number 3 option on most nights, on some nights offensively, to kind of play in this team. I also want to give this as well. Amanda Plugard tweeted this out, but Jalen Green had 6 threes, like you mentioned, Jake. He stamped himself into Suns history on his debut.
Yeah.
That is the most three-pointers made by a Suns player on their debut. So if you want to trade a guy in Jalen Green for Ja Morant before he's even played a game, I don't know what to tell you, because we're all going to be yelling. The media was outraged about Jalen Green. And we all saw how it was reacted to after that first performance. Quick 180 and Jalen Green is so good. Look at Jalen Green. Jalen Green's only 23. I didn't know that he could still grow. People were acting like Jalen Green was like a 28-year-old washed, inconsistent player that we got for Kevin Durant. Guys, please. He was the best piece in the trade for a reason. We have to wait and we have to invest in these players. Yes, it's one game. We could see tonight where he has 4 points and is very inconsistent. That happens with Jalen Green. But I'm not going to go off a 1 game or 2 game basis. I want to see what this man can do for the Suns. And I've been saying it, that I think he can be someone that can be effective for this team, working alongside Devin Booker, as he can be someone cutting to the basket, catching some lobs, working off ball, bringing that versatility of attacking downhill. And then when he has the ball in his hands, he can be a little bit sort of a playmaker, but also that just calling for his screens, attacking downhill, and then swinging out the rock to the perimeter, similar to how Booker does, to guarantee those multiple passes, which we've seen, which has been very beneficial for the Suns' ball movement off the ball and on the ball, for them to get multiple 3-pointers so they can have games where they shoot 50% from 3-point range. And I think Jalen Green can add to that, clearly, as we saw, where he had 6 threes in his debut. You saw him and Devin Booker at the end of the game smiling, all happy-go-lucky, and I guarantee you some nights it's not going to be that, because they're going to have inconsistent shooting nights, but some nights when they do are both hot, or one of them is doing really good and carrying the team, it's going to be very, very successful for the Suns.
Yeah, I mean, it was just like I said, that the first half not great, and I mean, you're trying to integrate a new starter back in, and you're still down Dylan Brooks. Let's not forget about him. But Jalen Green, like I said, led with 29 points. Booker backing him up with 24 points, knocking down 3 threes and shooting 43% to do it. And then how about the supporting cast? Royce O'Neal, 5 of 10 from 3-point range for 17 points. Grayson Allen, 4 of 9 from 3-point range for 8 and getting 18 points. And Mark Williams, he had 13 points. He also had 10 rebounds and a couple of steals. So it was a very well done performance, especially in that second half where we really took over. We should have been able to get the rookies even more playing time, but one guy on the Clippers was Christie, decided to try and win it all on his own and make the comeback. Wasn't going to get that done. And then, of course, I think the star of the game, outside of Jalen Green, of course, was Bradley Beal. Great to see him back in the Valley, shooting a solid 2 of 14 for 14.3%, 1 of 5 from 3-point range in a just under 20 minutes. It's an impressive efficiency. He also had 1 rebound and 1 assist with 2 turnovers and 3 fouls. So 4.
He 4 points, correct?
5.
Oh.
Yeah. He was able to knock down 1 3 and then get another basket. So, the Big Panda, we love you in the Valley, big guy. See, I think we should cheer him next time because, I mean, come on. What kind of – that's tremendous amount of love. Like, don't forget when he played the Wizards when he came to Phoenix, he went off for like 40-plus points. He comes back to Phoenix. He's like, whoa, guys. You let me actually rest when I was injured. So
the big meal
great,
had to have some
great to
panda for
see
dinner.
Bradley
so.
Beal. Read Bill's stat line. Great to see him. So I'll say that the Clippers, they had Zubac. They had much more of their defensive rotation players out there. Yeah, Derrick Jones Jr., Batum, Chris Dunn. They had Bogdanovich, John Collins, Brook Lopez all coming off the bench. So although they were missing a tremendous amount of firepower in Harden and Leonard, they didn't make it easy on the Suns to knock down baskets, but that's what they did. The Suns shot 45% from the field and 39% from three. And I expected them to get the win. They were slightly favored, and they took care of business. It was, like I said, a lot of fun to see. Let's talk a little bit about, as we're moving towards the close here with about 5 minutes left, you've already done some research for tonight's game.
Yes,
is Dillon Brooks back?
Dillon Brooks is questionable with a core muscle strain. So we'll have to wait and see. But I do think that means that we can see Dillon Brooks out here tonight, because I think that would be – I think he's missed the last 6 games for the Suns. So that would be nice to see for him to be brought back. There is no Kawhi for the Clippers tonight, alongside, I believe, like Yannick Koenig-Niederhauser and a bunch of like other names that are on their depth bench there. Dillon Brooks, yes, questionable with a core muscle strain. James Harden is back after missing Thursday's loss, but Kawhi Leonard still remains out with that ankle sprain. They also have Jordan Miller, Yannick Koenig-Niederhauser, Kobe Sanders, and Jamel Telfort out, while the Suns have CJ Huntley and Kobe Bryant out for 2A, because I believe that they're probably at home, not traveling with the team, because they're probably like practicing or doing something.
Well, no, I'll also add, according to Yahoo Sports, the Suns are also without Abdel Nader. He's day-to-day with a knee, and Isaiah Thomas is day-to-day with a hamstring. Can you update your system, Yahoo Sports?
That is embarrassing.
But Dillon Brooks, you said a core injury. They listed it as a groin. As the Fantasy Footballers podcast would say, he's got a groin injury. And so he, obviously, you're going to need that if you're going to try and do any amount of power stepping. And hey, I think Dillon learned his lesson a little bit after he got a technical during that Warriors game from the bench for
bring that up.
saying something. But because I saw at the very next game, he was in a tie and a dress clothes, like he was going to be.
He apologized for the tech too.
Yeah. Well, and in fairness, I saw some Suns fans just kind of say like, I get it. Like, it was frustrating, and he kind of channeled what the fans were feeling. Was the comeback likely? No. But it was trending in that right direction. And if we were going to do something like we did, against the Jazz, 2 Jazz games ago, where we took them to overtime, and made that huge run of, what was it, 5-7 points in like 30 seconds or whatever, then you can't have Dillon Brooks getting that deal. That'd be so great if Bradley Beal. Actually, no, that's not good. Correction, we want Beal in. I hope he dries off his shorts before game time. Because we need Beal taking shots. We need him to go 2 for 14 again, and getting the things done. But so we play the Clippers. It's going to be 4 games before we record again, and so we've got tonight in LA, 9:30 Central Time. So on ESPN, we got a national televised game, and then we will take on the New Orleans Pelicans, who have finally started winning. They are now 2-6, and that'll be on Monday. Then we've got the Dallas Mavericks, who are 2-7. Anthony Davis, as is common, he gets injured a lot, and he has been nursing injuries. I'm hearing Kyrie Irving, they think he could be back, I think around Christmas maybe now, as early as that, but he's not back yet. And then Cooper Flagg, they've been like playing him at point guard, and he's just not doing well at that position. Understandably, that's very different than the power forward spots that he's used to playing. And then we played the Pacers, who, I'll just be honest, after what was such a hard-fought, you might not be much of a Pacers guy right now.
No,
but
I am.
It's hard. Yeah, like a small market team like the Pacers, how inspiring they were to go all the way to Game 7, and just the heartbreak of seeing Tyrese Halliburton, have the Achilles injury in that Game 7 finale. The Pacers are a lowly 1 of 7 right now. So actually, if you look at it, the Suns play no winning teams coming up. Clippers at the Clippers, back to Phoenix to play New Orleans, at Dallas on Wednesday, and then the Pacers come to play Thursday. So 4 games in 6 days. So yeah, it's going to be a lot of ball real fast. What is your prediction, Mr. Villas?
So I know a lot of people are probably going to be yelling at me for this prediction, but I'm going to go 2-2 because this is the thing with the Suns. As we know, they beat the good teams, but they lose to the bad teams on occasions. And we saw with the Utah game earlier.
I don't know. We beat the Kings. We beat the Jazz once.
That's true. With the Jazz, I will say that in that first game, they used a lot of size versus us. And even though there's no Anthony Davis, the Mavs have a lot of size with Daniel Gafford, Derek Lively, PJ Washington, Cooper Flagg. And I feel like that's going to be a very, very
Have you met Mark Williams?
I feel like that's going to be a little bit difficult for the Suns. I do think that they'll lose that game. I think they'll beat the Pelicans, and then I think that they'll beat the Clippers, and then I think, unfortunately, the Pacers are going to get the best of them because the Pacers are just that random team that just get those sneaky wins. And is that game in Indiana or
it's in Phoenix?
It's in Phoenix. So Benedict Mathurin is coming home to Arizona. He's feeling confident after his college days.
Pascal Siakam having a good season.
Hopefully he'll be back, but I think that the Pacers will be able to sneak out a win there. I think we're going to go 2-2, beat the Clippers and beat the Pelicans, but then I think we'll lose to the Mavs and to the Pacers. So we'll start off the week hot, but then we'll have a cold week to end it.
Okay, you see, and this is where I really wanted Kevin to be on here because I wanted him to speak some of that positivity back into existence again. I'm going to go 2-2. I'm going to go a little bit differently though than you. I think tonight James Harden, he was out for personal reasons. He was at the clubs in LA and didn't want to come to Phoenix, and so he's back. The game's in LA, and I think Harden and Zubac are able to take care of business. Or I'll put it this way: I don't think it, I fear it. And I think we'll take care of business against the Pelicans, who. Even with healthiest Zion's ever looked, they're still struggling. They just, I don't know kind of what the Pelicans' plan is. It's funny that the Pelicans are owned by the same folks as the Saints that own the Saints, and who I'm a diehard fan of too. And they're like completely rudderless in terms of like talent right now on the Saints. So it's kind of similar with the Pelicans. They have some good players, Troy Murphy. They have Herb Jones. There we go. And of course Zion. Mavericks, I actually think we will. I can see that length really is frustrating, and it's in Dallas. I think we'll lose that one. I think we'll take care of the Pacers at home in Phoenix. So I'll go 2-2, a little bit different. And of course, we always want to speak it into existence for a 4-0 week.
I'd love to see
it, but I don't know if I would put my money behind it yet. And like I said. If we go 3-1 or 4-1 or 4-0, I will continue to be excited with this team. The way they've been playing, like I said, the last 4 games we've gone 3-1. I feel like it's the most fun I've had watching the Suns since. I think often back to last November when Hamo was still on the show before he got super burned out and decided to go join like a motorcycle gang. And drive around Australia. So shout out to Hamo the Hammer on that one. But I remember he was like, "Yeah, do you mind if I take a couple of weeks off?" I'm like, "No, go for it." And he came back. He goes, "Yeah, I don't think I want to do this anymore. This team isn't fun." and now the team's fun. I think that this is going to be what's interesting. If Brooks coming back is an immediate shot in the arm, and we continue to play well. Or is it, okay, now we have to integrate Green with Brooks, with Booker, because it's a whole new lineup. Then Brooks goes from, hey, should I continue to lead the team in shots? No, Dylan, don't do that anymore ever again. But we love your defense. Do that and be that third, be maybe even a fourth option because Grayson's been playing well. Roy's been playing well. Maybe even a fifth option because Mark Williams has been doing it. Just try not to shoot unless you're open. Let's just do that one. You
I
got
was
to be
gonna
wide
say-
open. It's got to be wide open threes or layups. So let's just do that for a little bit and see how the rest of the team adjusts.
I feel like with Brooks, depending on the lineup construction, like you were saying, if they do like a Brooks Dunn kind of lineup with Jalen Green and Booker, that kind of
A
puts
little sun
Brooks,
scoot and boogie. Brooks
that
and
kind
Dunn.
of that puts the Brooks maybe as like the third offensive option in the starting lineup. But if they put a guy like Royce, like they did last game in the starting lineup with or even Grayson, like a 3-guard lineup with Brooks, I think that's a little weird with 3 guards and Brooks. But I think if you did Brooks and Royce O'Neal with Green and Booker and Mark Williams, that could put Brooks as technically the 4th option offensively for the starting lineup.
With Royce, just because he kind of always has just been an undersized forward. Like he plays well better against big guys because he knows how to poke the ball out and swipe. He's not going to get you a lot of rebounds, but Mark Williams has been doing so well that Royce can just hold his own guy out of the paint for you. And then he'll go be streaky, but he can go knock down some shots for you.
And then it allows Dunn to be the good like POA attacking defender off the bench for this team, something that they don't really have with Rasheer Fleming, obviously not really getting those minutes and them kind of trying to figure out that rotation. It could also then give them the opportunity more to play that double big with Oso and Nick Richards or Oso and Malawach into that bench unit if they have a guy like Royce O'Neal in the starting lineup with a guy like Ryan Dunn playing that backup 3 and then having Colin Gillespie and Grayson Allen being those backup guards as well.
Oh my gosh, I totally forgot. That reminded me because Colin Gillespie, I didn't even realize what in the last game, was it against the Clippers that he did this? Let me take a quick look. Let's see. Oh, no, not that game. Oh, that's a different one. Let's go here. And yes, Colin Gillespie was 0 of 5 against the Clippers, missing all 5 shots from 3. I didn't notice because he had 5 rebounds and 7 assists and a steal. And some of those assists are so Steve Nash-like that I'm going to call him the poor man Steve Nash from now on. He's probably a better defender than Steve, certainly not a better shooter, but some of his assists are sneaky good, like attacking the basket and everyone collapses and then boom, he finds that offensive guy that you didn't even know was there. So really like to see that from Colin Gillespie. In the interest of time, we'll go real quick. And who do you have for this Shazam player of the week, sir?
Devin Booker, 100%. Man has been absolutely on fire, carrying the Suns team and taking that load like we've talked about just on his shoulders and being that true number 1 option, averaging 30 points, shooting his best shooting splits throughout his whole entire career, 51% from the field, 43% from 3-point range, where he's able to not only just do that, but also be playmaker for this offense as well, set up this team. And he is known on the Suns team to be the heart, the engine of this roster. So teams are swarming, sending him multiple defenders, trying their best. Similar to the Suns won that game versus the Spurs, trying to limit Victor Wembanyama. Other opponents are doing that same game plan to limit Devin Booker. And he's still finding ways to kind of beat those and to get him good opportunities to be able to go off for this Suns team. This week versus the Clippers, he had 24 the other night, and then versus the other games as well versus the Warriors and the Spurs, he absolutely went off. So I got to give him credit. 38 points versus the Warriors. Man has been absolutely insane.
I gave it to Booker last week. He absolutely does deserve it, but in the interest of changing it up as well, and because I think this guy needs some love, I'm going to give it to Grayson Allen. In that game against the Spurs, 17 points, against the Warriors, 16, and then again at the Clippers, he had 18. In those same games, 3 assists, 5 assists, 4 assists, and then he had 6 total steals across the 3 games. And then how about this from 3-point range? 56%, 44%, and 44%. The guy's knocking it down from range. He's knocking it down, and he's creating shots, getting assists, and he's playing solid defense. Grayson Allen, he's a good player, man. He's just a solid good player, and I love when I see him just heat up and he keeps the defense honest. He doesn't just sit there and wait to shoot a 3. He will drive it into the teeth of the defense and go and get some easy baskets too. So I like how he does it. All right. Well, like I said, we've got a 2-2 week coming up, as you mentioned, 2-2, but in a different format. But where can the folks find you to let you know as soon as we go 3-1 that we were wrong?
Yeah, so you can find me over on Twitter at Bruce Velez. It's legitimately my name. I tweet about the Phoenix Suns over there. You can also find my writing at Bright Side of the Sun, where I will be doing the breakdown for tonight's Suns versus Clippers game. So tonight's article will be up and stuff like that. You want to come out, hang out in the game thread, talk about the Suns while they're playing, come over to Bright Side of the Sun, where it is always popping over there. And then over on YouTube, you can find me over at Switch City, where I am doing my own NBA channel. And I recently just joined another Celtics podcast called the Celtics Chronicle, where you can get some work and knows about the Celtics Eastern Conference side of things. But that's it.
No, we only like to watch good teams here. So let us know if Dylan Brooks is going to be back.
I will.
And Planeteers, we will see you guys next Friday. Hope you enjoyed the show. Hope Kevin wakes up next time. It's late over there in the Philippines, so we'll give him a break. And follow me at Fallen Founder if you want. If I catch the game tonight, which I very much hope so. I'm still moving. I hate moving is what I've quickly learned about myself. The amount of time, it's not like back in school, like when it's like, I gotta get a new futon and I gotta get the little Allen wrench and twist it in and it'll take me like an hour to get ready. No, it's a bigger deal. So it's not nearly as enjoyable as when you could just bribe your friends with a 6-pack of beer. But we're getting it done. And hopefully I'll be actually in a new location next Saturday. But we'll be streaming then, hopefully with some good news. And we'll see you then. See you later, Planet.
Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, stay with us as the Suns get set to shine here on their home court.
Here's Perry. Cigar Hurd. Here's the jump shot. Good. It's good.
Al McCoy with you courtside. Comes up a three.
Tuesday. He ties it. ADA. Alan Tim up here.
Happy birthday.
Right. Yeah.
I know it's the ball, but happy birthday, baby.
Here's Cameron Payne out on top. Durant, three-pointer straight away.
Tuesday.
I just want to take this opportunity to thank everyone in this arena this afternoon, to all of those that are watching and listening on radio and TV. Thank you for allowing me to tell the story of the Suns for 51 great years.
That pretty much wraps things up here. And for one last time, this is Al McCoy saying thanks for being there. Thanks for being with us tonight. And from the Footprint Center here in downtown Phoenix, we'll just say so long for now.